What's up, life partner gang?
Gang, gang.
It's been a long time, man.
Should we say Happy New Year? I feel like it's probably going to be February by the time this goes up, but we haven't spoken to you guys since before the holiday. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year for sure. It's been a minute. We've been busy, a lot going on, lots to update y'all on. My wife getting me together over here.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot. That's happened since the last time we actually recorded sometimes too, but we never put those episodes out. Things have changed in the world, so we happy we here. We're like semi settled now. So
Oh, we moved.
we did move, so you notice the backdrop is different. We're not in our kitchen recording anymore. We headed to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Left the West Coast, which I'm still sad about. But we're gonna talk about that today. So we have a great episode just to kind of talk about what's happening in life right now, what's going on with us, LPG, Life Partner Gang, a lot of exciting things, and then just gonna talk about some relevant stuff that's happening and a little bit more about our journey.
Okay, so before we do that, I want you to make sure that you are subscribed, turn the notifications on, and so that you get all of the updates whenever we drop a new episode, upload a new video as we go throughout the year because we don't plan on taking any more hiatuses.
Hiatuses. Yeah, no, we're not planning to do that anymore. And as always, we're the Life Partner Gang. We are here to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so good. About all things relationship related, marriage, whatever your walk is, whoever you are, whoever you're with. We just want to talk and kind of share our experience and then hopefully, connect with y'all and, maybe you can learn from us, maybe we can learn from you. But as she always says, make sure you're following us, LPG Life Partner Gang on all social platforms. We'll be posting way more content this year, way more videos. I'm going to be talking way more reckless.
Okay.
Because I don't care.
Oh.
So yeah, but to kind of like get us into this week's episode, we wanted to talk about the move, right? So we were in LA for what a year. We did basically 12 months in LA. And I know a lot of y'all be thinking I'm in like the CEA or
The CIA, the CIA.
CIA, my bad. The CIA and trying to figure out, why we move so much and what we be doing. So we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
You want to tell them where we at?
We are in Virginia. We're in the Hampton Roads area, which is home for us. I grew up in Norfolk. James grew up in Newport News.
Bad news. 2 up, 2 down. What's happening? Go ahead.
So we're home. I'm really excited about being closer to family. Like the kids right now, they're at my mom's house, which is, a dream. We have help with the kids and, it's just being back here is going to push us toward our financial goals. So we are in Virginia.
Yeah. And I think financial goals and content goals and just like goals.
Yeah, because we can do this and not have to fear, Lukey waking up. At worst, King might bark at something, but that's our only kid that we have home right now. So to be able to have designated office hours for me particularly, because usually I'm trying to keep the kids out of his space while he's doing his conference calls and things like that. So now I can set a work day for myself and not have to worry about snacks and lunch and somebody hurting themselves and helping them with virtual school amongst all the other things that, parents have to do with kids during the day. So I am extremely grateful for that.
Yeah. And I think, while moving is never fun, I think the process of moving is painful, right? Like you got to get everything together. You got to pack, you got to box stuff up. You got to throw stuff away.
We packed the house up in a week. It was real swift.
Yeah, it was swift. But it's usually painful for me because I end up doing all the work.
You did not do all of the work.
I end up doing all the work.
You did not.
My wife chips in here and there, but like this is what she be doing half the time when we trying to make progress. If y'all can't see me, y'all listening to me. She be on her phone tapping away at something. And yes, it's her job, so she gonna try to use that as like, oh, I'm working, blah, blah, blah.
I helped you pack.
But
you're not gonna throw one of my name like that.
Moving is stressful, but we've done it so much, so we're almost pros at it. So if you think back to, what was it, 2013? 2013, we were in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Right after my birthday, we dipped. We moved to Arizona. Stayed in Arizona for
7 months.
No, it was longer than that.
No, it was 7 months.
I left at 7. Y'all stayed longer than that though.
We got to Arizona in November or end of October, and we left in May.
Okay. All right. Well, That was a quick
whatever
one.
that timeline is.
We left before the summer because I knew it
We
was
left
going to
before
be
Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was going to be
You
100.
left in March. We left in May.
It was going to be 130 degrees. And winters in Arizona are beautiful, but I couldn't do the summers there, so we had to get up out of there before that happened. But new money, new blessings. We went to Texas. Got to Texas, got married in Atlanta, built a house, stayed in Texas for 5 years. The tail end of that, I'm traveling back and forth to California. We finally say, all right, no more traveling for James. Everybody wants daddy to be home at night. So collectively, we make the decision to move to LA, which has been a dream of mine since probably 2006, 2007. Like I was telling people back then in Atlanta that I wanted to go to LA, and they was telling me back then because I was broke. You don't want to go to LA when you broke. So I never went, kept putting it off. We finally went, and love Cali.
It was
love
beautiful.
LA.
I wish we could have experienced LA less COVID because I feel like we didn't get to do even a tenth of the things that, you should be able to do there because of the circumstances. So
yeah, that's true. We got out there in December 22nd, 2019.
Yeah.
COVID shut everything down in March, but COVID started brewing
in February.
In like January, February.
Yeah.
And then that really, I wouldn't say it ruined our California experience, but it changed our California experience. So y'all remember if you watch Tina's stories every day, she has like the view. She's posting of our backyard. Like we had one of the best views, I would say, in Cali.
Yeah.
And in LA.
Gorgeous.
And our place was gorgeous. It was beautiful. Now, I don't feel like the place was really conducive for being stuck in a house with 3 children. It's great if we could take them to the park or go do this and go do that.
Or they could go to school and things
Yeah.
like that during the day. But to have them and us home 24/7, them needing to get their energy out or just to have somewhere to run around, it was not conducive to that. So that was a huge factor in our decision to move because they're still home. They still need somewhere to run around. They still need room to play. So
yeah, and so for the beautiful backyard that we had, it was great for sitting out there and enjoying the view and the weather and things like that. But it wasn't conducive for playing. So playing meant we had to move the cars out of the driveway so the kids could run around in the driveway
or drive to the park.
Drive to the park. But when COVID happened, this is the thing too. So a lot of our followers are on the East Coast or Atlanta because that's where we were based for so long.
Yeah.
Cali is not like Atlanta. Like, Atlanta, they've been doing whatever.
Yeah,
all
Atlanta's
open. Atlanta been open all.
Cali is not.
Cali isn't open. And it really isn't still to this day. And that was really a large factor in why we decided to leave, because when we sat back and thought about it, it was like, all right, we're paying significantly more to live here. I wanted to move there because of the connections, the people I could meet, the networking, all of that. COVID ruined.
Network with who?
The networking. Like you can't go to an event and meet somebody and talk to them or shake their hand or any of that anymore. So like it changed the plans. Now, overall, we had a great year though.
We did.
In terms of what happened.
We had a great year. It was the perfect home, to be capturing content. We all, we got to spend the entire year together, which ultimately was the point of moving. So, that side of it was beautiful, but just from the financial decision, given our financial goals, and then what we were used to in terms of space, it wasn't conducive. And just like for you working, like now you have an office that you can close doors.
Yeah.
And Lukey can't just bust in like the little baby from the that CNN video that went viral where she busted in her dad. That was Luke.
Yeah. That's
all day long.
He still does that now, even with a door. But it was like before, having an office in a loft area, I can hear everything that's happening. Yes. The kids doing laps upstairs, I can hear it. You fussing at the kids, I can hear it. Like any Luke whining, crying, I can hear it all. So now it is better to have a door and to not be stuck in that. Plus, they just need space to run around. Like when LA shut the parks down and everything, there was nowhere to take them other than walking around our neighborhood, which also wasn't really kid friendly.
Yeah, our neighborhood
or safe. We lived in the hills.
We had to go down the hills to get to like sidewalks and things like that for them to be able to ride their bikes. So it like they couldn't really ride their bikes or their hoverboards or their little scooters and stuff, with the exception of in the driveway, unless we had to go down the hill. So it was just first world problems, but it just wasn't conducive for an environment that we wanted them to be able to enjoy everyday life and being able to have ways for them to, get their energy out.
Yeah. And then so part of what we're doing is like leading up to making a decision to move. We have been talking about do we want to, go back to Texas?
Yeah.
That was the initial thought. And like we were close.
Yeah, we had took a couple a house hunting trip and
so we took a trip out there, found a house that I fell in love with.
I was on my way. It was a beautiful home though. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But it was a little overpriced.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get them to come down to what we thought was, reasonable, just considering it was going to be a significant amount of work that we were going to have to do in the house to kind of get it to be home for us.
Yeah.
But we couldn't agree on a number that we thought was fair for both sides. So we didn't buy that house. So then once that didn't happen, it was like, all right, cool. Like, do we keep this LA thing going and see what happens, or do we dip out? And I started thinking, behind the scenes, like, all right, well, do we really want to move though? Because moving isn't fun. You moving around the holidays. There's so much going on. Like we in the middle of Christmas trees everywhere, all of that stuff. So, but a great thing happened. So, my parents who live in Japan right now,
also in the CIA.
Yeah, my parents live in Japan, and they about August. Yeah, they bought what would be their retirement home in Virginia. And it's a beautiful home. It's where we are now. Started talking to them, and then, I never, since we left Virginia, I never envisioned really coming back here. I know you've probably secretly wanted to come back all this time, but Virginia is slow to me.
It is a little slow.
And I'm a city guy, so I prefer to be by a major city and things like that.
The 757 area, anyway, it's slow down
here. Yeah, like it's slow down here. Like we're not up towards Northern Virginia and that type of stuff. So, and I don't like the cold anymore. Growing up here was one thing. As an adult now, I do not like the cold.
It snowed yesterday, and he almost cried.
Like I just.
The kids loved it though.
The cold depresses me. So it was different thinking about it, but the one thing I started thinking about was, we opened a couple of more businesses on the East Coast, specifically down in the Southeast. So I was starting to have to travel back to Georgia more, now back to Alabama. Mm-hmm. So like those cross country flights, they're kicking my butt when I got to go and do them on the weekends or whatever, and then come back and get back into gear with the family. So Tina's looking at me like, yo, why don't we move back to Atlanta? And I'm like looking at her like, but you never wanted to move back to Atlanta. So like, why is that an option?
It's you tried traveling. All right. So where we need to be. So you ain't got to be traveling so much because it's getting on my nerves now. We done moved all the way to California to stop you from traveling. And now you got to go back to Georgia. Do we need to go to Georgia?
Yeah. So no, she's a trooper about it. And I got to say, like, that's the one thing that I think has been dope about, our relationship is that once I got Tina to move the first time, which is from Atlanta to Arizona, she's never really given me grief about moving. Now,
I kicked and screamed about Cali a little
bit. She kicked and screamed about Cali for years, which she always ended up talking me out of it. But then when it was finally like, all right, like, let's go to LA, she was there. Now, did she still complain the whole time we were in LA about how much it costs to live out there?
Why does gas cost like $18? I don't understand.
Yeah, she complained about that. Now, she ain't even putting gas in the car because she's at the crib every day. So get the high gas prices didn't impact her life at all. But she's complaining just because she knows it costs more to live out there.
Yeah.
And it is expensive out there, but you can't beat that weather. It's not.
I do miss the weather a little bit.
It's nothing like waking up every day and you don't have to like be cold. Cold is 55 degrees there.
Yeah.
It's different.
No, the first week I missed the weather a lot. Our first week here, it just rained. And, we hadn't really experienced that in Southern California. It might have rained twice the entire time we were there.
Yeah.
The sun, you used to be the sun being out every day. So it was a shock to come here and just have it be gloomy. Like, oh my gosh, where is the sun? Why won't it stop raining? Is this what life is like outside of the California bubble?
Right.
So that has been an adjustment amongst other things, but we're getting there.
Right. So, thinking about, we got the businesses, mom and them have the house out here. Mom and dad got the house out here. They're not going to be back until, at that time, it was like almost a year and a half when they would be back, and feeling like, all right, like, how can we shortcut me having to be gone so much? Plus, we don't have any help, and we have very big, audacious goals for this year. And it's one thing to be like trying to create content, but it's another thing when you don't like ever have help to like help you with the kids, because we got a gang of kids and we always trying to create something. And or even simple stuff like going on a date. Like
we went on
on one date while we were there, and COVID was the reason for that. We did have like our sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, your sister lived out there, so she was, willing to keep the kids if we needed it. But it's when everything is locked down, it wasn't like we could go many places anyway. So we had that to deal with. So you kind of fast forward through all of that, and it was like, all right, I'm thinking in my head, but I'm not saying anything to her yet. Like, man, I wonder if we should go to Virginia. You could be by your family. I can be by my grandmother who lives here locally in the area too. And then, the cost of living out here is like a fraction of what it is out there. And we could do some things with that. Plus.
And we had, I guess you were getting there. Last year, we had already paid down how much?
Like $130K
in debt. So we had already aggressively started like tackling debt payoff, because we were trying to get that house.
Yeah. So
we were lowering our debt to income ratio and doing all the things because we were getting ready to pull the trigger. So moving, will put us in a better position to be able, when we do see something that we want or we decide that we want to build, we can jump on it without having to worry about where our finances are. We can have our finances aligned to where, because the goal for whatever house we went into next was to technically only be house poor, meaning that the mortgage and the utilities were the only bills that we had to pay. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And this time around, we were really going to go into like our dream home.
Forever.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in forever homes because I like to move.
Forever home.
But
I'm tired.
it was going to be our dream home. And that was really what attracted us to what we saw in Texas, because that, I might dig up the pictures so we could show them. Like,
we can show a few pictures. The house is crazy.
Like, the house had a gym in it, had a basketball court. It had the only thing it didn't have was a pool.
Yeah.
And we were going to put a pool in there.
In the yard. Yeah. It's crazy.
But it has space for me to have like 10 more kids. All of these things, right, babe? You can't go and get your dream home and not fill it up with the kids.
You still got me fucked up.
But anyway, so, we were thinking about dream home. So, and then it was like, all right, cool. So as I'm thinking about this idea, I asked.
It had never occurred to me, honestly. I was thinking Texas or Georgia. Where are we going? Texas or Georgia?
Yeah.
Because either way, I knew that if we went back to one of those two places, it was still closer in terms of his travel. And I had a support system in both places. So he had always said Virginia was out. So honestly, Virginia had never occurred to me.
Yeah, I never wanted to come back to Virginia. We've had the conversation about family and all of that. And while I do love her family and in-laws, I like to have separation so that people can pull up when they want to. People can't be all in your business. People can't be nosy. When you live on the other side of the country, it's impossible to pull up on me without me knowing you're coming.
Yeah.
When you live in the same state or city as people, then they can just pop up. Like, oh, I'm in the neighborhood kind of thing. Ain't no in the neighborhood.
Well, where we are now, it's kind of like 45 minutes out, so you don't really want to pull up.
Yeah, you don't, but you could.
You could.
And then the other thing too was I honestly was thinking about, you and your goals and where you're trying to take your business this year. Tina had a phenomenal year last year with her business, and I'm thinking of protecting her and like, yo, is being home gonna be a distraction for you? Because now you have everybody here, and I didn't know if they were going to respect your work boundaries because they might think, oh, you just on social media.
They do kind of still. But don't pull up on me without calling, because I might be recording like we are right now in the middle of the day.
Yeah. So, we had all of those things to think about, but so I'm thinking about it in my head, and then a part of me is still torn on LA because I really, really love LA, and I'm like, are we leaving before what we were supposed to do out here, actually comes to fruition? And I still struggle with that even to this day. But I started thinking about, all right, like financially though, we could save even more money by coming out this way and not being out there. So let me talk to Tina, see what she thinks about it. Brought it up to her, and of course she was, yes, I think that's a great idea.
Virginia? Whatever do you mean?
So she was all on board with it, of course, because she gets to be by family, and we haven't lived by your family since ever,
yeah.
So
I haven't lived this close to family since I graduated from high school, because I went to college in Georgia. I graduated from high school in Georgia, but it was about 4 hours away from Atlanta. And the year that I graduated, my dad went back to Iraq. So my bonus mom and my sisters, they moved back to Virginia. So from that point on, with the exception of one aunt, my entire family was here.
Yeah. So it was, all of it made sense in terms of that. So her and I started to talk about it. We talked about like our financial goals, because we're still like, okay, we're contemplating whether we want to build or buy something. I think we're leaning towards building, you know what I mean? If we find the right, and building, like buy the land, build the house, custom.
Yeah, we don't want to do a cookie cutter
it.
house anymore. We want to custom build this time.
Yeah. And then what we've also said, like in terms of location, we're just going to be agnostic. Like we don't know where we're going to land. So if our families made the decision,
we would stay here.
We haven't committed to that. My mother desperately wants me to stay here. And I know your family does too. Georgia is still on the table.
I still think Georgia makes the most sense, but
Texas is still on the table, and Cali is still on the table in my mind.
I won't say never going back to Cali,
because if the world changes, COVID is no longer a thing.
It's gonna forever be a thing. It just might be less of a
threat like it is right now. Yeah, so Cali's still on the table too. So we have time to figure it out. So what we ultimately said was, all right, let's go talk to my parents and see what they think about it, because it's their house.
Yeah.
They've never lived in this house. They came to visit this house. So just to kind of give you guys the rundown of it, my parents bought this beautiful home remotely.
Yeah, they bought it
like over Zoom.
Yeah.
They never visited this house one time in person when they purchased it. They had my grandmother, who lives like 15 minutes down the street, come here with the realtor, do like the FaceTime thing. Mm-hmm. And they were in the middle of a tsunami in Japan during closing. So they're like clinging to the internet working, trying to make sure the paperwork is there, signing everything electronically to close on this house. So it was just weird to me to even like broach the topic with them. Like, yo, what y'all think about me and my family, coming in and moving into y'all's house? So I was like, but talk to Tina. She was like, let's just talk to him. So we hit up my mom's, and told her what was on my mind. And I was like, look, we haven't made a decision yet on if we're gonna stay in California or not. Like,
because it was also time to renew our lease.
Yeah, so we had to make a call on that. And our landlord out there really wanted us to stay. We were great tenants, the whole nine, and of course she was making a boatload of money off of us. So why wouldn't she want us to stay? Right. So I hit mom's up and talked to her and was like, look, this is what I'm thinking. Like, we come back here, we hold it down for you. They had a property manager at the time. I'm like, we can take care of the house. You don't need a property manager. We'll kind of hold it down to make sure everything is good to your liking. Boom. So when you come back, your house is still in one piece like you like it was when you bought it. And then it puts me closer to the places I need to travel to, so I'm not like stuck on these 5.5 hour flights all the time. And it gets us in a space where we can be close to the family out here. Grandma's down the street. She needs anything, I can help her out as she's getting older. Tina's family is right down the street too. So if we need help, they'll be there to help us as well. So she loved the idea, which was great.
Yeah, she was immediately open to it.
But then it was like, all right, let me talk, because I was just talking to her at the time. She was at work, so my dad wasn't around at the moment. She wanted to talk to him. She went and talked to him, and like that same day, she was like, yeah, we love the idea. Like, we think we should do it. Let's have a conference call and talk about the details and iron it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that part,
this was Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah. So that part went well for us in terms of just, all right, cool. Like, we're all on the same page. We're all good. But we still didn't like commit then, because I was like, well, let me still think about it, Mom, because I was like, I still don't know if I want to go to Virginia. And here are the reasons why. So we kind of sat back, thought about it, prayed about it, talked about it with my parents, and then we all kind of came to the agreement about, this will work out. This could be good for everybody.
So what he means is he put together a spreadsheet and he was able to detail how much money we were going to be able to save by being here. And that's when the light bulb came on for him that it would be worth going.
Yes, money definitely was like the determining factor.
That was his determining factor.
Yeah, because I mean, it's such a drastic change and a lifestyle change from, where we were and what we were doing.
And not lifestyle change like we're slumming, because the house is, if I have to be anywhere for a year, I can absolutely be here for a year. But like outside and like
little stuff,
and being a vegan and having like places to, if we opt to go to restaurants and things like that, like being able to just have those options at your fingertips. Or we attempted to go last minute shopping to pick up some shoes for me before we had to shoot last weekend. And it was so like, the mall was so weird. It was like we stepped it back into 1990.
The mall is the exact same way it was when I lived here as a child.
It was like, for real, it was so awful. So we're absolutely going to have to be some avid online shoppers, or we're going to have to take like bi-weekly trips to Northern Virginia to go shop in like places that we're used to, which again, very first world, but when you're used to being able to run up the street to Nordstrom's to pick up a store order and they don't have a Nordstrom's within an hour of us, it's like, wait, where do we move again?
Yeah, it was simple things like Nordstrom. We needed something like quick clothes wise. I needed something from the Apple store.
Yeah, it's no Apple store.
The Apple store you gotta drive forever to get to. So it was just weird, like being in this place and getting adjusted to that. And then you're right, my diet was a big part of it too. Like being a vegan, I was like, where am I supposed to eat out there? Because every time we come home, everybody's throwing crabs in my face and all that type of stuff. I'm like, I don't eat that no more. Like, what else is here?
Right.
And luckily for us, like we've been on our fast for the month of January. So,
but yeah, so we've been doing the Daniel fast, and he's been doing raw vegan since he's already a normal vegan. So that has spared me for now. But I was like, I'm just gonna have to cook more.
Yeah, she just had a cooking campaign the other day, and I'm gonna tell you right now that I don't have a lot of faith in her ability in cooking more. My wife was struggling to make breakfast.
I was not struggling to make breakfast. I was just, my brain was scared. I was hurting myself a lot in the process. I cut my finger. I burned my
This is why making bacon, eggs, and waffles, guys. Like, it wasn't anything extravagant, and like she had real world injuries making bacon, eggs, like that? And waffles. So her putting together a vegan meal, yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one.
Fine.
So yeah, we out here having to think about all those things to get adjusted to, but we ultimately decided that it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
So you happy with the decision?
Yeah, I'm happy with the decision so far. I mean, of course, like, the little things that we have to get past. We still, this weekend, hopefully, is the last of like the unpacking and getting the kids' rooms organized. But just being able to be near family, like 2 days after we got here, my dad had a health scare.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. And
was ambulance to the hospital with the threat of a heart attack, and it was just like, wait a minute, what? Like, I just got home. What do you what do you mean he might have had a heart attack? It was just, I can't put a price on being able to go to the hospital, to be there for him, to be able to hug him, when we found out that he was going to be okay. Granted, I could have gotten all of that same information over the phone via FaceTime or what have you, but it was just a different level of comfort to be able to drop what I was doing and go be there. And, didn't have to, well, the kids were in the car with us, but instead of having to take them into the hospital to risk, them being exposed to COVID, my sister met us at the hospital to pick them up and take them to my mom's house. So it was just, it's just different.
It's different being around, you know what I mean? Like having to deal with that. If we were like 5,000 miles away, it would have been tough. I couldn't imagine, Tina is a daddy's girl. So she loves her dad to death. So that would have been just super stressful for her being on the other side of the country while he was, dealing with that. Luckily, it all worked out, you know what I mean? Good. Okay. He's okay. So, praise God for that. But that was like one of the like first kind of like, all right, like,
we should be closer to family.
Because I think that's the one thing you learned with last year. Like with COVID, nothing is promised. You know what I mean? And a lot of people lost people. Y'all followed us. Like I got COVID. Zoe got COVID. Zoe didn't get sick. I was sick as a dog. So COVID has shown us like the importance of being around family.
Yeah.
And making sure like, you just spend time with the people that matter to you because you never know when people are going to be gone. So
that's very true. The kids are loving it. And I'm loving it for them. It's just being able to see aunts and grandparents. Mm-hmm. They don't have very many first cousins because half of them are in Atlanta. But my one niece that is here, so they do get to see her. They've seen her like twice. We got to celebrate her birthday, one of my sister's birthdays, which this past Wednesday. We had like a small family dinner. So it's just being able to be there for those moments that I haven't been able to be there for.
Yeah.
And forever. I'm very, very happy with that. And from a parent perspective, I like our kids more. And I say that from a loving place, but them being able to go to my mom, because today will make a week that they've been going over there. It gives us a chance to miss them. Not that we don't love them 100% all the time, but we do. But kids can be a lot. They can be taxing. They can be little buttholes, because they cry and they whine and they need things no matter what you have going on with your work day. But them being able to go and, we have our work day, it gives us a chance to meet them. And they're 10 times cuter when they come home and smile and do their little quirky things and want to be all up under you because they haven't seen you all day. But when you've been touching me all day and you continue to want to touch me, I don't want you to touch me no more.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do think they come home and you're like, oh, you're cute. I missed you.
Right.
Versus like, get out of my face.
Like, please stop calling my name.
So now that part is good. Just for them getting to be around the side of the family because they've spent a lot of time around my side of the family when we lived in Texas. If you guys don't know, like the house we built in a subdivision, my parents built a house in that same subdivision. So we literally were walking distance from each other. So they saw that's why they're still super close with my parents to this day because we saw each other pretty much every single day. So that was cool. And then even being out here now too, like I'm seeing the joy that they're bringing to my grandma.
Yeah.
So, that's their great grandmother. My grandma will be 76 in like 2 weeks actually. And she's like loving them and she's loving being around Luke and trying to run around Luke and like seeing how smart the kids are. And she already like, y'all bring the kids over here and they can spend the weekend for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, Grandma, we got 3 kids.
I don't think I want to leave them there.
I want to leave all 3 kids with you. But, I just think them, getting that experience of hanging out with family is good versus in Cali, it was just us.
Yeah, and everything was just virtual, which, thank God for technology, but physical presence, nothing can replace that. So
yeah,
for that alone, I am happy that we're here.
Yeah, so you got the familiar side of it, and then you have the other side, which is the financial side of reaching whatever goals we have set up for ourselves. So like we said, the goal is to wherever we go next to build or buy our dream home. And being here puts us in a position to do that, which is awesome. And then it allows us to kind of, go into this like, all right, these are our goals. This is what we want to save. This is what we want to make this year. Like we've set huge goals in terms of what we plan to earn based on everything I have going on, based on what she has going on. I finally convinced her to be a believer in like just having crazy goals that most people don't think you can get to. now she's on that. She's on the wave now. It took forever. She used to like, I'm just all right. And I think she did it to like not disappoint yourself. Like, oh, I only want to make 6 figures, or like $100,000.
I mean,
I'm like,
you couldn't have, and maybe you could have, but I guess I had to see it to believe it, because when I left my corporate job as an insurance adjuster, I was making 55,000 a year,
Yep.
Before taxes. So to be able to make that, in my first full year as an influencer, to match that, essentially, that was like a big hurdle for me to get across, to be even be willing to walk away from my corporate job. But I was like, okay, if I can at least match that salary, I'll be fine. So when I went into it full time last year, you know, I felt like I was pushing myself by setting a goal of 100K, because that's double. You know, why not? That's pushing yourself, right? If you could have told me that I was going to make $300,000 as an influencer last year, I would have laughed. I would have never believed it. Now,
yeah,
I'm like, let's run it up. But I had to see it to believe it. I absolutely did.
yeah. And I think, you know, you got to that point in seeing it, and now when you set a goal for yourself, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna set this huge goal.
Yeah.
And you know, really push myself to get there versus going into it believing that it's not attainable. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So now you recognize that you put your mind to it, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. And you know, you're smoking hot, on fire. You have been for a while now. The family's on fire. So, you know, I think these goals that we have for the year are great. And just so like y'all know, we put it out there. Like, our goal this year is to make $1 million plus.
Touching $1 million.
Period.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And we think, well, not even we think, we know we can do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just literally, that was really the motivating factor. It was like, all right, like, we get back here, like, we can have dedicated content days. Like, we can go and record for hours. We can shoot as many podcast episodes as we want. We can go and create movies. That TV show, Mingling with the Meeks, that we've been talking about, we could start that on our own.
Yeah.
All of these different things, being here and having help and having the space to create allows for that. So that part alone had got me excited, as well as the financial side of it. But it's like, all right, now we have the space to create. I can leave LA for that.
Yeah, I mean, because there's always the option to come back, but I'm really excited to see how, you know, as we go into February, because January was kind of a bit of a blur, being that we had moved and we had to wait for our furniture to get delivered and all of that stuff. But just as we move into February, I'm really excited to see where we go once we put our foot on the gas. Because right now we're still in like cruise control.
Yeah, we still in cruise control. Well, we in cruise control on content side. There's a bunch of other stuff happening that you know is keeping me busy, keeping us busy. But the content is about to rev up for sure, which is going to be great. I'm excited for y'all to kind of see where we go and where we take these things moving forward. It's going to be a lot of dope stuff that comes from us. And we're going to share the journey, like every step of the way, in terms of the financial goals and like the revenue goals and hitting a milli and all of that.
What's left? Student loans?
That's it. And I just said that y'all was getting y'all money last anyways.
Yeah. I could pay mine in a lump, but I don't want to.
Yeah, we could have been paid them off.
Forget
but it's
y'all.
like,
I don't even have no degree anyway. Forget y'all.
you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all out here robbing us to go to school. I'm actually waiting to see if y'all boy Biden is going to cut them loans down before I pay anything.
Right.
So let me see what he going to do. Because you ain't finna get the money to pay everybody else student loans off. Because I'm going to need me. So we're going to hold off until he figure out what he going to do. But we're gonna stay, you know, keeping everybody abreast of the journey, where we're trying to go, the goals, what we're trying to do. Once we determine, like, where we're going to move to, want to open y'all up to that too. Because I think that's going to be fun, building a house from.
What would you say, if we could just quickly give maybe 3 tips for somebody who wants to pay down debt? What would you say?
Read Dave Ramsey's books if you haven't. I think Dave Ramsey is awesome in terms of like the strategies he gives you. If your credit card debt is one of your things, the snowball method
For sure.
is definitely important. It's a good one. And then the other thing is
Create another income source.
Yes, well, that definitely create multiple streams of income. Like, and if it's harder for you to do, at least try to have two.
Yeah.
So it could be your main job and then something else that's gonna help you like get to your goals faster, pay down debt faster. But the most important thing is you got to be disciplined with it, man. That's the hardest part,
You
honestly.
got to set a strict budget and stick to it. And this is hi, I don't like budgets, but if you want to make it happen, you got to stick to those budgets.
You got to have a budget. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even within that budget, you still have to leave yourself some space to do things that you like because nobody just wants to just be in the world where you're only paying down debt. You never have fun, go out to eat, any of that type of stuff. So, but that might mean less trips. So if you take 5 trips a year, maybe you go down to 2. You know what I mean? And those other 3.
You know what? I don't know who needs to hear this. Hi, it's me. I need to hear this. You don't need to order Postmates or DoorDash. Eat the food that you have at home.
Yes. Because even now, this one right here, like,
I should have stock in Postmates and DoorDash the way that I gave them my money last year and even now. So if you would be surprised if you just stop and look at your bank account and look at how much you're spending on food in terms of dining out or meal delivery services. If you can take the money that you're spending on that, actually cook your meals at home and put that additional spend towards paying down debt, you would be surprised at how far you get.
yeah, use tools like Mint. They've been out here for a long time. They'll show you where your money is going. You know, there's another, I can't think of the name of the app right now, but there's an app that can basically plug into like your bank accounts and like see all the subscription services you subscribe to.
Yeah,
And
check those too.
basically give you a rundown of everything so you can realize, you know what?
I don't
I'm
even
subscribed
use
to Just Fab still and I don't even use it. Or I'm subscribed to this thing and I don't even use it. So be very diligent about where you're spending your money. But have a goal. So if you know you're married, you got a partner, spouse, whatever it is, sit down with them and like y'all write out what the goal is. Like, all right, you know, by the end, we want to save for a vacation, or we want to pay off $50,000 in debt. Cool. Set the goal down and then figure out what each person is going to do to contribute to that goal so that y'all can get there. And just be diligent and disciplined. That's the biggest thing.
And for anybody who is listening or watching and took multiple streams of income as you have to be an entrepreneur, you don't. Everybody doesn't have that spirit. So if that means you go get a part-time job in customer service or delivering Amazon packages or whatever that looks like for you, if it's an additional revenue stream, then that's just what it looks like for you. You know, your side hustle doesn't have to be starting a business if that's not your thing.
Absolutely. And don't be fooled. Like, I think I posted about it recently, but while we're on the entrepreneur kick now, and I always knew that, you know, I wanted to be one, I've worked at Walmart. I was in college working at Walmart, like on the east side of Atlanta. And most of the people there didn't believe I was in college. So like, why are you working at Walmart? Because I had multiple jobs at the time. When we were trying to get the first house we got in Georgia, the house we bought in Stone Mountain, I worked a 9 to 5 in Alpharetta, got off in the evenings, and went to Best Buy and was slanging tablets and computers at Best Buy until we were able to buy that house. Tina, when I met her,
I was working at
2
Guess,
jobs.
and I was an assistant manager at Limited 2, which is now Justice. But,
Yeah.
you know, by any means is by any means, not you have to, you know, go and be something that you're not and try to start a business. If that looks like, I've worked customer service for Amazon. I've worked customer service on like phone customer service for like Neiman Marcus. So
Me too.
whatever that looks like for you is what that looks like for you. If it's going to bring some additional income to you so that you can work toward those goals, then by all means do it.
I was making $100,000 and was working at Neiman Marcus
Yes,
in
he
the
was.
evening, doing customer service at home.
When we first got married, because, you know, we had a pretty expensive wedding and we had just bought a house. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I like that discount. So
it was a nice discount.
so yeah, don't be ashamed or prideful about working a second job or a third job, whatever it takes, man. Don't let anybody kind of shame you into doing what you feel is best for your situation. Set a goal for yourself, be strict, be disciplined, and go and achieve that thing. And then watch how good things come after you've really spent that time and that discipline. So it's simple. Like you sacrifice now, you shine later.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
So for us, you know, we on that tip. Like we paid off a lot of debt. The only thing we really got to worry about now is student loans. But like I said, they'll get that when they get that. I'm not really concerned with that. But we have goals in terms of what we want to do this year, and I feel confident that we're going to hit them. It's super early, but we're on the right track.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the year holds.
Absolutely. And then like what else has happened since then? Tina dropped her book.
I did. Yeah, I wrote a book. It's an ebook, and it just basically lays out my blueprint from everything I've done to grow my following, to build an engaged community, to secure well-paying brand partnerships. If you haven't already checked it out or heard about it, and you are an aspiring influencer, then that might be for you. It's called Got Influence, and yeah, it's my blueprint. There's not a tip or trick or suggestion in it that I don't currently use today. Like if you've ever wondered about how I do what I do, it's in the book.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. Like
that's one of my goals this year. One of my goals this year is to make James a 6-figure influencer.
Oh, we on the way. I mean, she just got me. We just did something with BET today, which is dope. And there are so many people who maybe some of them will speak about it openly and maybe others won't, but they use my wife's tips, her tricks. They bought her book, and they work. You know what I mean? So it's not one of those things where it's fluff, where she's like, all right, just buy this so that you can read through 50 pages and there's actually nothing in there. There's actually like tangible stuff that if you do it, if you follow it, it's truly the blueprint of, how to get money. So
like, no exaggeration, James was aside from the person I had proofread it, James was like the first person to read the book, and he read it and he was like, you put everything in the book.
Yeah.
I know. He was like, you don't think that's too much? Mm-mm.
Yeah. So there's more coming in that space. Yeah. My vision and her vision is to create more of that. She's really leaning into this, not just being a content creator and an influencer, but also a coach, and somebody to help bring other people up in that space. So she's doing it. I think she has a number of like walking testimonials out there who's seeing it, and then she gonna do it with me too. And I'm like, y'all gonna hate me for real then, because that's another bag that I wasn't even planning on. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch that journey. So, if you guys haven't checked out her book, definitely go to her website, herlifesparkles.com/gotinfluence.
Yeah.
To grab that. What else we got going on this year?
We're trying to figure out where we're going to buy or build. We're on a road to the Millie.
A Millie.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, we're going. We don't know where we're going, but we're traveling.
We hoped. I mean, they're making it difficult.
Yeah, we got to get out of Dodge though.
Yeah. So we definitely this year we've said, we've been talking about it, that look, we've lived with COVID now for a year. 2 people in our family have had it. Me and our daughter. We want to get out. Even with us
being as careful as possible.
Yes, we ain't go nowhere. We wear a mask everywhere. The only place I was going was outside to run out in LA, and
to the grocery store, and still got it.
Yeah, still got it, wearing a mask and all of that. It's impacted our businesses. Like some of our employees have recently gotten it. So it's everywhere. But we do want to move around this year. You know what I mean? Because we usually every year we travel. We go somewhere. Like that was our thing, especially for our anniversary. We go somewhere, and COVID is really taking that from us and from many people. So we're going to be safe wherever we go.
Yeah, but we're going somewhere.
But we got to go somewhere this year.
I'm over it.
Because, just being stuck and not being able to move around is not the business.
What is there anything else? I think that was it, honestly.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the update. So we in Virginia for the foreseeable future. Where we're gonna go next, we don't know. We guys will
keep y'all updated as we make those decisions, though.
Yeah, y'all will be a part of that journey, kind of where we're going with it too. As we get settled in the house, we'll continue to show y'all the house. If y'all haven't checked out, Tina did a house tour.
I did. It's on my Her Life Sparkles channel on YouTube. If you want to check it out, it's a beautiful house though, so you should definitely go see it.
Yeah, it's lovely. You should see it. My parents did a great job with this one. And I'm excited for them to get back. Because they've been going forever too.
Yeah.
So excited for them to get back to the world and to be here. And if we decide to stay in this area long term, that'd be great. Everybody be by each other.
We might have to move a little north though.
But yeah, man. I mean, I can't even like go out and buy no sneakers. Like there's just nothing around here.
But yeah, that's it. That's our life update. That's what's going on with the Life Partner Gang. That is what we have been doing over the last couple of weeks during our hiatus. We moved again across the country. We're getting settled and getting back to business. So we just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on everything that we had been doing and what we have going on in the coming months.
Yeah. Oh, and I got a new hosting job.
Oh, yeah.
So I just signed
He a
on
podcaster.
to host another podcast separate from our Life Partner Gang. It's with a platform called Dear Fathers. They have a great platform. If you haven't checked them out on social, where they really highlight Black fathers and like trying to change the narrative about Black dads and being present. So they do a lot of interviews with celebrities and athletes and things like that. So they're bringing me on to co-host season 3, which I'm super excited about. Some of the folks we're talking about interviewing, I think it's gonna be really dope. So we're growing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. So I'm excited about that. Just continuing to get out here, create content, get our family out there, and then like I said, big things coming for the Meeks Gang.
Yeah. So with that said, if you have any topic suggestions that you want us to cover this season, make sure you drop them down in the comments, or you can send us a DM on our Instagram page, Life Partner Gang, and just make sure that you are subscribed so that you can, continue the journey with us and you stay updated every time we have something new going on or we drop a new episode.
Absolutely. So this was a good one. Just wanted to give y'all the update. We're going to come back with some more pointed topics moving forward. We definitely want to talk about kind of what's going on in the world too. I wish we would have dropped that episode where we were talking about homeboy that was frying all them ladies on Instagram.
I can't even remember his
We might have to get y'all some clips of that without dropping the full episode. Yeah. But there's some stuff that's going on that's relevant right now in this Life Partner Gang space too. So we're going to be talking about that, but definitely love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all show us so much love. We know y'all been waiting on us. So the loyalty and the support means a lot. Definitely keep it up.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys more than we can even put into words, honestly. So thank you.
Thank you. And then we didn't even intro ourselves. So I'm James. That's Tina. we missed that part. To our rhythm. So I am James Meeks on social.
I'm Her Life Sparkles.
So yeah, appreciate y'all. Life Partner Gang. We out.
Bye.
Peace.